Hello everyone, Turtlelags here bringing you another AFK Journey video. As you can see here, my guild has cleared all 14 strongholds. We are about 22 attacks away from unlocking Nathaniel. And actually, some of my viewers are about to attack Nathaniel themselves. As a matter of fact, one of my Discord members, Beware of Dog, he actually attacked Nathaniel already, and I will post his performance in the overlay above and in front of you, and what you'll notice right away is that he ran both Mikola and Coco on the Lenya comp. And this is very important intel which I'm trying to get out to you guys ASAP before the daily reset, and the reason for this is because up until this point we knew that the bosses are hitting a lot harder in the global server's jewel run compared to the pioneer server. However, what we didn't know was that Nathaniel would be crowd controlling like a fiend, hitting like a truck. So for this reason, running the Mikola Coco combination for the Lenya comp will be ideal. If you're able to swap to this already, that would be fantastic. And there's another Talene team that is very spicy that I cooked up with my Twitch chat yesterday after reviewing my initial Talene replays against Shadow Salazar. I am very happy that this morning my other Twitch member and Discord member, Rekman, he DM'd me some of his results, which I will overlay over here, showing that he had great success with the Talene comp against the Shadow Muriel. And I am hopeful that this team will perform very well against Nathaniel, even with knowing now that Nathaniel crowd controls and hits harder than we expected. So basically, the format of this video will be as follows. I am going to go over first the two teams that I am personally going to bring against Nathaniel that will also work very well against Shadow Muriel and Shadow Salazar. And then I will go over the top two Eironn variations to run in non-boss stronghold situations, depending on whether you are minimally invested or heavily invested in your account. So without further ado, let's begin. So first I want to begin by talking about the Lenya comp, which I think many of you are familiar with by now, whether you have been watching onto other content creators videos or have been in the loop with Analytica's Discord server. So this Lenya comp, the way it works is that you have your main hypercarry, which is Lenya. She's going to be the beneficiary of the glowy Mauler faction tile, allowing her to have a shield as well as dish out more damage. Additionally, you have Shakir for the Lupine aura to provide haste and damage mitigation buff for your party, improving their survivability. You have Kruger for the physical defense shred. You have Mikola for the haste and attack buff as well as the heals. And you have Coco for the shielding, because Mikola's heals are not the best, but you need Mikola for the additional offensive buffs. So this team works out quite nicely. As you can see in the screenshot that Beware of Dog sent me and my Discord server, he was able to achieve a very respectable score against Nathaniel. Any score that is about 65 bill aroundish is a fantastic score if you've picked up all three buffs and are fighting any of the three bosses, Nathaniel, Shadow Muriel, or Shadow Salazar. So that is this team. You're running the Verdant spell, not the Resonator spell, because you do want to improve the overall healing output of your supports, while also maintaining a nice offensive damage output boost for your DPSs. So Verdant, very important spell to run if you are having survivability issues. Now moving on to the Talene team, this is a team you've probably never seen, because this was a team that Twitch chat and I cooked up based on my past Talene performances against Shadow Salazar. My inspiration behind the Talene team was that I wanted a team that could AoE decently against like a mobbing scenario, a non-boss scenario, while at the same time having bossing potential. And this was what we cooked up. Huge shout out to Rekman, Tokume, and the rest of Twitch chat for helping me refine the formations to take advantage of all the different synergies, including the full Magic Charm set for both Ludovic and Rainier, which was not something I thought of before. This team, the way it works is that there's two DPSs, there's Talene, there's Lily May. Talene is going to be dynamic balanced by Rainier. The reason why Rainier is in front of Talene is because when you have his full magic charm set, your Rainier is actually going to buff the damage output of your Talene. Plus, you know, dynamic balancing Talene to provide her with 25% damage mitigation while also making it so that whenever Nathaniel takes damage, Talene is being healed, which will make it so that Talene will have plenty of energy and health reserves to stay in her ult form for days, right? I mean, obviously Nathaniel's going to crowd control your Talene. Sometimes he will charm your Talene to have her attack your allies, which is why it's so important to have another DPS, I think, like Lily May, in those kinds of situations so that your damage output doesn't drop that much. Also, for Lily May, she will be the beneficiary of the Resonator spell, making it so that she will ult more frequently, which will not only boost her damage output, but it'll make it so that she will be in her ballet skill more often, which, as many of you know, when she's doing her whatever ballet, she actually has some period of invincibility, so this helps with her survivability. So even though Nathaniel is hitting harder than we originally expected, but the combination of Rainier heals, Ludovic heals, and Lily's ballet, as well as Talene's damage reduction, as well as the illusion Frusto providing some damage mitigation to Rainier, and also the main Frusto providing energy regeneration to Ludovic, so that Ludovic ults more to heal even more. This should theoretically make it so that this team composition survives until the very end. Of course, you're going to have to hop onto my live stream later today to see me attack Nathaniel with this really fun team comp. So guys, if you haven't hopped onto my Twitch chat, or if you haven't followed my Twitch stream or hopped onto my Discord server, I highly recommend you do so, because it's impossible for me to upload a video every couple hours with the latest and greatest teams. You guys really should be part of my community in order to have the inside scoop and have maximum advantage to dominate the competition, right? So now that we have talked about the way that these two Nathaniel, Shadow, Mariel, and Salazar comps work, now let's go over the two optimal Eironn comps for the mobbing situations. So the first comp that I want to illustrate is actually a comp that my guild used very early on day one, once we realized that some of our, maybe you can say, like less developed players, some of our less developed guild members who had maybe like EX5 heroes instead of like EX10, 15 heroes, some of them were having some survivability issues, and so drawing some inspiration from some people in the Analytica Drill Run Discord server, I was able to cook up a refined team that you see before you. Basically, the idea is that you run both Damien and Coco to provide survivability, and then you have Carolina and Parisa. And the reason you're running Carolina and Parisa and not Arden and Parisa or Arden and Carolina is because Parisa actually does a ton of damage, Carolina does a ton of damage, and when Parisa is blessing Carolina with her attack speed and normal attack buffs, Carolina ends up being an even more offensive beast. Not to mention, this team, theoretically, if you absolutely needed an extra attack or two to KO a key mini boss like Shadow, Salazar, or Nathaniel as an example, then theoretically this team will run the most damage heavy DPSs in the form of Carolina and Parisa. And I have the formation this way, that way both Parisa and Carolina are taking advantage of the wilder glowy talent season buffs. Yes. And so this is one team. Now once your guild is strong enough to survive without a Coco, or if you are a whale and you want to run an even stronger team, then this is the next Eironn team, the best Eironn team in my opinion to run. Huge shout out to Tokume for suggesting this team formation to me and for playtesting this. Here is an overlay showing Tokume's run with this team against a standard mobbing situations, mobbing stronghold. He was able to achieve over 100 build points with this team. The way it works is that you have Eironn still crowd controlling Magic Defense Shred. You have more crowd control in the form of Arden and Carolina. And you have Parisa right next to Carolina because you want Parisa to buff Carolina's damage output. And then you have Smokey in the middle to provide heals and also provide an attack buff and also more offensive buffs to your entire team. Carolina will be the beneficiary of the Resonator spell. That way, Carolina is ulting faster, which is kind of nice because not only is Carolina spamming her burst damage a little bit more, but she's also freezing the enemies more. It'll get to a point where with this team, your heroes might not even get hit that much, with the exception of, I think, a certain mob where they have some CC immunity and magic defense reduction. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to keep this video short and sweet. Do let me know in the comment section below if you find any of these teams helpful or cooked up another alternative to this team, to these teams that you want other people to try out. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you hopefully in the Twitch live stream today at the Daily Reset. Take care, guys.